Today, Fly confirmed that Darcy Moore won't be playing in the Anzac Day game on Friday. Who replaces him? Who takes on Peter Wright? Let's talk about it. So before we jump into it, some absolutely huge news. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen I had the absolute pleasure, privilege of interviewing Collingwood President Barry Karp today at the AIA Centre. Went on for about 45 or so minutes. We talked about a wide variety of topics, who he is, where he sort of comes from in regards to, him supporting Collingwood and what his presidency means and everything in between. That'll start coming out next week. It'll be a two-parter. If you are a member, you get to see the whole thing straight away. So if you're not a member, hit that membership button. Cheaper than an almond latte. But that was just mind-blowing. I was nervous. I couldn't eat, but it was so fun. And he's such an incredible person. And the club was amazing to, allow this opportunity to happen. But so that'll be out next week and then the week after. But again, if you remember, you get to see that as soon as I edit it and upload it. But now, Anzac Day coming up. No Darcy Moore. Let's talk about it. So last week against the Lions, Darcy Moore copped a errant knee from Jeremy Howe that messed up his ear. So he needed stitches inside his ear. He got subbed out. No concussion, which is the biggest thing. But this morning, before training started, he talked to Fly about how he was experiencing some sort of vertigo, and he just couldn't play on Friday. This will be hopefully not an ongoing thing, and hopefully it gets sorted as soon as possible, because not only do you want your captain out there, you want your best defender out there. And Darcy Moore has had such a good season, the best few games that he's had in the last 12 or so months. And unfortunately, he doesn't play in one of the biggest games in the home and away season. What does this mean? What does this mean for Collingwood? Well, it means that the guys that we do have on board at the moment, Jeremy Howe, Billy Frampton, they have their absolute work cut out for them. We know Dan Houston is coming back. But how do we compete, or who replaces Darcy Moore? And there's, Fly did mention, do we stick with, getting another tall back in? Do we keep our defense relatively small? Do we even sort of replace him with a like for like? Now, let me give you the options on who we sort of could get in. So, Jacob Ryan has had a really good start to his VFL season. Joel Cochran and TJ, all three of those guys, so Ryan, Cochran, and TJ have all played incredibly well in the VFL. Out of those three, Cochran is probably the one, a debut on Anzac Day would be just insane just in general. But I think Cochran could be that Darcy Moore replacement. I know he doesn't have the backing of senior AFL games or enough runs on the board in the VFL like TJ and like Jacob Ryan do. But if you're sort of going a like for like with a height and the way that they play, Cochran would be the guy for me. Or you could go with someone like a Charlie Dean, who has played a bunch of senior games. He did it at the start of last season, and he was, baptism of fire. It was Jesse Hogan. It was the Sydney forwards as well. Can you have Charlie Dean come in and be that Darcy Moore replacement? He's also had a good block in the VFL and in the preseason as well. So you've got four guys there that could replace Darcy Moore. Obviously, you sort of want, would have been awesome, Reece McGuinness again, right? A player like that. That's why when we go to the mid-season draft, we are probably more than likely looking at a intercepting defender. McCartan, the third McCartan brother's name has been floated around. Tomlinson's name has been floated around for guys if someone goes down in the backline. But there are options there. It's just, how do you go? Do you go tall or do you go small? Now, Essendon's forward line, they do have a couple of tall players. Obviously, Peter Wright, 2 metre Peter. You would think Billy Frampton plays on him. Langford will come in as well, and Langford always eats us up. In these last couple of games, he has eaten us up. So Langford will come in. Nick Martin is about 192 centimetres. You got Kako down there, Gresham down there. So they've got a mix of talls and smalls. Me personally, it's a hard one. Like, Dan Houston's coming back, right? So you've got that medium-sized defender, Isaac Quain or Braden Maynard. They could do the job. I think we do need to replace Darcy as a tall. For me, it would be out of Cochran as a debut or Charlie Dean. Now, I've watched Charlie Dean at training since I've been going, since November. And I know that I said earlier this year, he wasn't as up to it as a Reef McGuinness would be. But I think from what I've seen in the VFL, he's ready to go, ready to get called up on, like Billy Frampton. They're just biding their time until they need to be called up upon. And I wouldn't mind seeing Charlie Dean in there as that third intercept marker, like Jeremy Howe. Jeremy Howe, you would think, would play maybe on a Nate Caddy, who is another one that's going to be absolutely scary to go up against without Darcy Moore. Peter Wright would go on to, Billy Frampton will go on to Peter Wright, who plays on Langford. I think a Charlie Dean or a Cochrane debut. I've had big raps on Cochrane since he came to the club, and I think I made a video saying that out of the three, he would probably be the first to debut. So I wouldn't mind seeing Cochrane up there. And then you've got to think as well, are there people in the team at the moment that you can swing down? I know on Twitter there's been a couple of people that have said, maybe swing McStay down back. I personally wouldn't do that. I want McStay where he's doing well in the forward line. Same with Mychek. Wouldn't swing him down back. I know we've swung him down back before to sort of like close out games, but that's why you have Darcy Cameron fall down back. So does that mean that Cox stays in the team now and maybe Membry sits another week out, so we can have Darcy Cameron float down back more and have Cox really work Goldstein to the bone? We know that Peter Wright will more than likely do a bit of chop out for Goldstein in the ruck. So there's a lot to ponder. For me personally, again, what I would do, it would be Charlie Dean or Cochrane that comes in for Darcy Moore. Dan Houston obviously comes in, and even though I said that he didn't have that good of a game and you guys ate me up, and that's fair enough. Cox, I've said before, amazing tap ruckman. Maybe if he did convert some of those chances, I would have said something a little bit different last week. I know that. But I do know that, I said he didn't have a good game. From what I saw, I know you guys thought differently. That's the beauty about opinions, right? Which is amazing. I love this open conversation. Could mean that Cox stays in the team. Cox stays in the team. We see Darcy Cameron float towards the backline a little bit more. He's the number one intercepting ruckman in the game. It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do. The news has just come out as well that Finn McCrae re-injured his shoulder that he suffered, had an injury during the preseason, and it looks like he's out for 12 to 16 weeks, which is just super... It's just super unlucky for him, right? At the moment, he can't catch a break in a contract year, and I feel really bad for him. I feel really, really bad for him, but I'm wishing him a full recovery. But anyway, guys, the team's coming out tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who would you want to replace Darcy Moore? Merch is still available. Be on the lookout for that Barry Carp interview, which is just huge. And until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.